All right, let's get right to it. We're not going to spend time talking about why you should do dividend investing. Instead, we're going to jump straight into the how. We are going to build your very first dividend portfolio together, step by step. So, how do you do it? How do you build an income stream that works for you even when you're sleeping? Well, that's the goal, right? More freedom, more security, and that's exactly what we're here to build today.
By the time we're done here, you're going to have a real, actionable blueprint, and more importantly, you'll have the confidence to actually take those first crucial steps. So let's get started. Let's build your dividend portfolio. Okay, first things first. Before you even think about clicking that buy button or looking at a single stock chart, we have to start right here with the foundation. Because look, without the right mindset, even the best strategy on the planet will just fall apart. This isn't about quick trades. This is about becoming an owner.
I love this money tree idea because it just perfectly captures what we're doing. You don't just plant a seed and wake up to a giant tree the next day, right? No way. You have to nurture it. You water it consistently by adding new investments, and you take the fruit, the dividends, and you use them to plant more seeds. It's all about cultivation, not about winning the lottery. So, what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it really boils down to three core principles. First, patience over quick wins. Every single time. We're not trying to time the market, we're giving our money time in the market. Big difference. Second, you got to reinvest those dividends. This is the secret sauce, the thing that turns a straight line of growth into that beautiful curving exponential growth. And third, focus on quality. We're not chasing the latest hot trend. We're investing in solid, established companies that have a proven history of rewarding their owners, their shareholders. All right, mindset is locked and loaded. Now, it's time to actually build the blueprint. This is the practical, nitty-gritty prep work you have to do before a single dollar leaves your bank account. And trust me, getting this part right makes everything else so much smoother and way more effective. We're going to break this down into just two simple, totally manageable first steps. Step one, figure out your budget. How much can you actually set aside consistently? And step two, choose a brokerage, the place where you'll actually buy and hold your stocks. Let's tackle each one. Now, when I say budget, please erase any idea that you need thousands of dollars to get started. You just don't. Can you start with $50 a month? Yeah. How about 20? Absolutely. At the beginning, the actual amount is way less important than just being consistent. The habit of investing regularly, that's the muscle you're trying to build right now. Okay, next up is the brokerage. Think of this as your gateway to the stock market. Now, since we have a global audience here, I'm not going to name specific companies, but the things you need to look for are pretty much universal. First, look for low or even zero fees. You don't want your hard-earned money getting eaten up by commissions. Second, and this is critical, make sure they offer automated dividend reinvestment plans. We call them DRIPs. We'll talk more about those later. And finally, just pick one that's easy to use. You want to feel empowered by the platform, not totally overwhelmed. Okay, so we've got the mindset down, you've set a budget, you've even opened up your brokerage account. Now for the really fun part. How do you actually find good dividend stocks? This is where we move from prep work into real strategy. We're going to look at a few key numbers that, believe me, tell a really big story. The first number almost everyone sees is the dividend yield. It's basically a quick snapshot of the return you're getting from dividends alone. A pretty good rule of thumb for beginners is to look for yields somewhere in that 2 to 5% range. Now be really careful of super high yields. I'm talking over 7 or 8%. That can often be a yield trap. It's a big red flag that the dividend might not be sustainable and could get cut. A company's past really does tell a story. A great-looking yield today means absolutely nothing if that company cuts its dividend the second things get a little tough. What you want to look for are companies with a long, reliable history of not just paying their dividend, but ideally increasing it year after year. Now that shows a real commitment to shareholders. So how can we tell if a dividend is safe? Well, the payout ratio is a fantastic tool for this. It simply tells you what percentage of a company's profits is being paid out as dividends. Generally, anything below 70% is considered healthy. It means the company has a nice cushion. They're paying you, but they also have plenty of cash left over to reinvest in their own growth, which is exactly what we want to see for long-term success. And look, remember that the numbers only ever tell part of the story. You have to look at the actual business. Ask yourself, is this a strong, stable company? Do they have a product or service that people are going to need even when the economy gets rocky? Think about things like utilities or essential consumer goods or top-notch healthcare companies. You're not just buying a dividend yield, you are buying a piece of a tough, resilient business. And that brings us to maybe the oldest and most important rule in investing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. This chart here is just an example, but see how it's spread out across different parts of the economy? You've got tech, consumer goods, healthcare. The idea is that if, say, the tech sector has a really rough year, your other stocks in healthcare or utilities can help balance things out. Diversification is your number one defense against risk, period. Okay, so we've covered the mindset, the prep work, and the strategy. Now it's time to put it all into motion. Let's get into the action phase. This is where we actually start buying shares, and more importantly, setting up the automations that are going to make that money tree of yours really grow. Remember those DRIPs I mentioned? This is the tool that puts your entire portfolio on autopilot. A dividend reinvestment plan automatically takes the cash you get from dividends and, poof, it buys more shares of that same company for you. You don't have to do anything. It's the ultimate set it and forget it feature for serious long-term growth. And this right here, this is where the magic happens. Seriously, without reinvesting, your income just kind of grows in a straight line. It's steady, but it's slow. But with drips, you unleash the awesome power of compounding. Think about it. Your original shares pay you dividends, which buy new shares. Now you have more shares, which pay you more dividends, which then buy even more shares. It's this incredible snowball effect that just gets bigger and bigger, and it can totally accelerate your portfolio's growth over the long run.
So you've set up your drips, your portfolio is doing its compounding thing. Does that mean you can just check out for the next 30 years? Well, not quite. While this kind of investing is pretty passive, it's not completely hands-off. A quick check-in every now and then is a really smart move.
So, what are you actually looking for when you check in? Well, maybe once or twice a year, just take a quick look. Has a company suddenly cut or suspended its dividend? That's a huge red flag. Something might be going wrong. Have there been any major changes to the company's business? And hey, maybe the whole market has dropped a bit, giving you a great opportunity to buy more of your favorite companies at a discount. And this is so important to remember. You are going to see the value of your portfolio go up and down. That is just a normal part of investing. But as a dividend investor, your main focus isn't the daily stock price. It's that reliable stream of income your stocks are generating. If the company is still strong and that dividend is still safe, a drop in the stock price is often an opportunity, not a disaster. Wow. We have covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From the mindset all the way to monitoring your portfolio. We've basically built a complete blueprint from scratch. So now, let's just boil it all down to the essentials and talk about the real payoff for taking that very first step. Okay, let's wrap this up with a few final, super important tips. First, start with what you can afford. Consistency beats a large starting amount any day. Second, get a good mix. Have some of those stable, giant blue-chip companies for safety, and maybe sprinkle in a few solid, higher-yielding companies to boost your income. And finally, and this is the big one, be patient. Compounding is like a force of nature, but you have to give it time to work its magic. So there you have it. We've walked through the entire process. The theory part is officially over. Now the action begins. Honestly, the most important thing you can do right now is to research just one company using the principles we talked about. That's how you turn passive learning into active doing. So that's my question for you. What's the first stock you're going to research? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to see what you're looking at. And hey, if this explainer helped you out, do me a huge favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe share it with someone you know who's ready to start their own investing journey. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.